And we are also going to relay this session live on YouTube. So probably you will get a message now that we are going live on YouTube. So it is just for wider audience. So you just need to click on got it. So just give me a second. So let me share this link with everyone in the group. Okay, great. So I have also put the link for this live YouTube session in case anyone wants to share this with friends. You can go ahead. Anyway, we have enough admissions still. So, right. So let's begin. Everyone, hearty welcome to all of you to our fifth session in a row for Yogarthi. And I'm very happy to welcome my friend Nikhil Kulkarni. So Nikhil, if I'm just allowing you to unmute yourself so you can just say hello to everyone.
Hi, thank you, Sucheta. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Yes. So I'm glad to have Nikhil Kulkarni with us, who is going to talk about Soorya Namaskars. Okay, and all of us being yoga practitioners, some of us also being yoga teachers, and also the students of probably MA Yoga Shastra or doing diploma, and basically all of us are believers of yoga. And so Soorya Namaskar is also something that is not new to us as a practice, and we all also know the importance of Soorya Namaskar. Now, Nikhil Kulkarni, who is currently staying in the USA, he is an avid practitioner of Soorya Namaskar, and he also likes to consider himself a student of ancient Vedic and yogic literature in the light of modern science and latest research. Nikhil has been conducting Soorya Namaskar workshops and trainings in the USA for the last 10 years voluntarily. Okay, and he is also the founder of Soorya Namaskar Alliance, which is basically into spreading the message and the knowledge of Soorya Namaskar to wider audience across the world, and is also aiming at conducting different levels of courses for Soorya Namaskar. So he's also founder of Soorya Namaskar Alliance. Another thing that I would surely like to mention is that his book, Suryopasana, which he has written in Marathi, is going to be published on 5th of June by Vivekananda Kendra in Pune. So that's also something that we all can look forward to, because I'm sure it is going to be a very comprehensive book about Soorya Namaskars. So this is his introduction in the context of Surya Namaskar, since that is our topic for today. And he's going to talk about Surya Namaskar and its effects on brain. In addition to this introduction, professionally, Nikhil has been helping the corporate America in different roles and capacities for the last 20 years. Currently, he is working as a senior manager for portfolio planning for a large database company in the US. And apart from that, Nikhil is also committed to water conservation by creating opportunities for businesses in irrigation and drip irrigation companies from across the world. So that's his introduction professionally. So welcome, Nikhil. Welcome again. And for those of you who don't know what Yogarthi is and what Koham School of Yoga is, I would also like to give a brief introduction of both of this. So I'm Sucheta Kadethankar and I'm a co-founder of Koham School of Yoga along with Sushma Kale, who could not join the session today. But Koham School of Yoga basically is, we aim at giving authentic education from the basic level even up to higher education in the field of yoga and ancient Indic wisdom. We also have a lot of courses currently running and a lot of courses coming up. Currently, we have MA Yoga Shastra running, affiliated to Kavi Kulguru Kalidas Sanskrit University. And we will soon be beginning admissions for the next year, MA in June. We also have teacher training course coming up, pranayam and meditation teacher training course coming up, and a lot of other courses that we are offering. So Yogarthi is an initiative of Koham School of Yoga, where we have just got together people who are deeply interested in yoga, and we try to arrange one lecture every month. So we began this officially in the month of January, and so this is our 5th session. So I welcome all of you again. Thank you for joining, and thank you, Nikhil, also for accepting our invite. And now I would request Nikhil to start his knowledge sharing session with us. Thank you, everyone.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sucheta, for the grand introduction. Don't know if I'm really capable of all that, but it's a pleasure and honor to be with you. And thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, everybody, for giving your valuable Saturday evening to talk about Surya Namaskar and the brain health. I mean, as Suchita said, I mean, I have been doing Surya Namaskar for more than 25, 30 years. And I grew up in that culture where every kid belongs to the city, and the good people from city are actually will take ownership and they will put them in a course. So I got into Surya Namaskar and a little bit of Malkam and all that stuff through compulsion. Maybe you like it or not, but as you grow up and at certain stage of life, when you look back, you start thinking what I really like. And in many cases, you like things that you really did when you were like 5 years, 6 years, 10 years old. And that's kind of those things come along with you long time, and you kind of belong to them. And the same thing happened to me with Surya Namaskar. On one fine morning, I thought, okay, let's get back to this schedule again. And then I started doing it all by myself. I started with 12, 15, 18, and 108. And then I reached one stage where I was doing 500 Surya Namaskars every morning. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock and finish it by 7 o'clock. And I used to travel like coast to coast in those days. So I used to have a lot of jet lag and all, but still, I mean, it gave me a discipline of life, is all I can say. I mean, in whatever time zone I may be, I used to wake up at 4 o'clock without even alarm clock. And I mean, those were some of the moments of realization for me. Like, okay, the guy who always needs an alarm clock to wake up, even at 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and kind of dragging and pushing and pulling himself. Guy can wake up at 4 o'clock. What's changing? I think there is something changing, and and that was my realization. And it was basically an alignment with the circadian clock. And alongside, I continued to read a lot of material from, as Suchita said, from the Indian philosophy, from Vivekananda, from various other sources. And alongside, I got an opportunity to work with the leadership from various hospital chains in the US. And that was also a eureka moment for me, because as I worked with them, many of them were fond of yoga. Many of them had read yoga. They have studied yoga. They have done a lot of research. They have used a lot of concepts in their own research. And that was like a wow moment for me. I said, wow, I mean, if it is that valuable, then I think I should definitely explore it more. So I explored their research, and using the latest science and all alongside our literature, and I came up with a tiny bit of understanding. And then we decided, like, okay, I mean, we need to bring this to people. I mean, this is something, a really valuable body of knowledge, and we want people to understand this, recognize this. And so we form a organization called Soorya Namaskar Alliance. Our basic objective is to study Soorya Namaskar from various aspects of it, how it aligns with the Indian philosophy, of course. But I mean, what is in it for me? Like how it can make my life better. So that's the very objective of it. Um, and once again, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. It's pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's my honor. So without any further delay, I think I will get started with my presentation. Let me know once you are able to see my screen. Suchita, can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
You can. Okay, wonderful. So, all right. So we talked about Surya Namaskar Alliance. So I have a solid impact from Vivekananda, and today's topic is related to our brain. So I wanted to reiterate his sentence about the prana and the brain. So what he says is the best form of prana is in our brain, manifesting itself as a light of understanding. So I think I'm so fascinated by Vivekananda. I always have a question whether I should call him as a yogi or I should call him as a scientist, because his theories are so much aligned with the modern science. And one after other, every single statement that he made is coming to reality. So this is one of that statement. The best form of prana is in our brain, manifesting itself as a light of understanding. So, and this light is under the guidance of our thoughts. All right. So we will be talking about the brain, and as you can figure out, you already know that brain is probably the most precious gift that we got in our endowment as a human being. Uh, it's a evolution. It's a process of evolution. Even snake has a brain. Even a cow or a dog has a brain, and then human has a brain. But our brain is a big giant machine. It's what much more evolved than the brain that a snake has got. Snake has just got a reptilian brain, and he can just say yes and no, like a fight or flight. And then we have a cow that has got like a middle brain or a mammalian brain. It can have emotions. It can show kind of affection to the owner. It can have tears in the eyes. It's much better than the snake and the crocodile, but it is still much lesser than the human being. In this process, human being has got another layer which is substantial, which we call it as a neocortex, and I think that makes us a very fine being on this planet. And as you can rightly say, if we look at the facts of the brain, I mean, it's just like a ball of sponge-like tissue, weighing about 3 pound, 2% of our body weight. It is made up of 7 different lobes. It has 3 layers, as I said, the reptilian, mammalian, and the neocortex. And The best part is it is a social network of 100 billion plus neurons, and these neurons are connected to each other so closely that you can probably imagine if a social network of 6.5 billion can create such a havoc on this planet, how big impact our 100 billion neurons can create on our energy, our personality, our behavior, our overall existence. So the most important part of our brain and our existence is this network of 100 billion plus neurons. All right. So moving on to the next slide. I would like to reiterate one statement from Stephen Covey. He has laid out the analogy of destiny in a very fine words. He says that thoughts lead to actions, and actions lead to habits, and habits lead to character, and then a character lead to destiny. So, if we really want to control our destiny, all we need to control is our thoughts, and our thoughts are the guiding factor for everything that happens to us. And now you can figure out this is coming from one of the world's most cherished speaker. Probably his book is one of the world's most sold book ever. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He is kind of a brain behind the corporate America, and he's saying that okay, you have the full power to control your destiny. And just before a slide, this we saw that Vivekananda telling us the best form of our prana lives in our brain in the form of that light of understanding, and he's also telling us the same thing. So I'm always fascinated by Vivekananda and his philosophy. Wonderful. So, all I want to say is it is a very, very important organ. It is a very essential, crucial part of our body. And I think if it is that crucial, then probably we should give the most attention to it. And I don't know how much of it really we take care of brain. So we are facing so many different situations. Uh, and we will get to that, but before we jump onto that, what is the circle of influence as we talked about it? Of course, brain controls our body, its physical actions. Every motor action is being registered and ordered and approved by our brain. So all our movements are coming from our brain. Second important thing is all what we feel, all what we think is coming from our mind, and that is coming from our that 100 billion plus social network, and that entire mind biologically lives in our brain. So uh, collectively, these two things have a large impact, a substantial impact on our personality. These two things dictate our habits, our addictions, our and ultimately our character, and ultimately our destiny. All right, moving on to the next slide. Now, what can go wrong with the brain? Okay, at a very high level, 30,000 feet view, there are only two things that can go wrong with the brain. Okay, one is it can have a physical damage, and second is we can damage our mind. So look at it from a hardware and software point of view. So physical damage is basically the hard disk or the laptop is broken, and the damage to the mind is basically there is a virus in the software. So just for easier understanding, only two things can go wrong with the brain: physical damage and damage to the mind. All right, so physical damage. It comes in various forms, and uh, trust me, every shock, every concussion, whether it is a big or small, it damages our brain for good. And that damage is permanent. It never goes away. Dr. Daniel Amen, he's a very big neuroscientist, psychiatrist. He has done a lot of research in terms of understanding the effects of physical damage to the brain and the behavior of the patient. And he has come up with very, very interesting insights. He has a book series available. If you are interested in knowing more about it, please definitely give a try to those books. Uh, Second way we damage our brain is Alzheimer's and a family of dementia. And a third way, I would say, physical damage that can happen to brain is the Parkinson's family of diseases. So these are basically neurodegenerative disorders, but they physically affect the brain. So we will be coming back to these in our upcoming slides. So let me move to the next one. Now, damage to the mind. I mean, this is basically we are having issues with our software now. So not so good habits. We can have bad addictions, and addictions can be good and bad, just like habits. Self-defeating self-talk and suicidal behavior patterns. Chronic depression and anxiety is another issue with the mind. Abusive behaviors, antisocial and criminal behavior patterns are some of the prominent things that are considered as issue with our software. All right. So what is the biggest issue that we are facing right now? I mean, world has come up a long way in terms of the research and analysis of the medical science. And as of now, we are facing a substantial threat to the humanity in the form of Alzheimer's disease. And it is at a smaller level at this stage. It looks like it's at a smaller level, but the proportions it is growing, and the causes and all other facts are evolving around it, like what is really causing Alzheimer and what is leading us to that situation and all. So looking at that, I think pretty soon it can turn up into an epidemic. So I thought, I mean, we should use this session to understand the Alzheimer's disease, not from a some medical scientist point of view, but from a common man's point of view, because we all have brains, we all have neurons, we all have this this probability of catching up with Alzheimer's. And I want to use this time to familiarize ourselves from a common man's point of view, understand the architecture of Alzheimer's, and see how we can leverage Surya Namaskar to help us prolong the onset of it. Unfortunately, at this point of time, I cannot say, not only I, no one in this world can say that, yes, I can stop Alzheimer. There is no one-stop shop medicine for Alzheimer. So that is another part of tragedy. We will revisit this in later part of the session. Um, but what I would like to do is I would like to give you a quick introductory video that will walk us through and explain in a very professional and very elaborative way to know what is really an Alzheimer. So let me know once you're able to see the. Alzheimer's disease. Are you able to hear the audio? Yes? Okay, wonderful.
Alzheimer's is a slow, fatal disease of the brain affecting 1 in 10 people over the age of 65. No one is immune. The disease comes on gradually as two abnormal protein fragments called plaques and tangles accumulate in the brain and kill brain cells. They start here in the hippocampus, the part of the brain where memories are first formed. Over many years' time, the plaques and tangles slowly destroy the hippocampus, and it becomes harder and harder to form new memories. Simple recollections from a few hours or days ago that the rest of us might take for granted are just not there. After that, more plaques and tangles spread into different regions of the brain, killing cells and compromising function wherever they go. This spreading around is what causes the different stages of Alzheimer's. From the hippocampus, the disease spreads here to the region of the brain where language is processed. When that happens, it gets tougher and tougher to find the right word. Next, the disease creeps toward the front of the brain, where logical thought takes place. Very gradually, a person begins to lose the ability to solve problems, grasp concepts, and make plans. Next, the plaques and tangles invade the part of the brain where emotions are regulated. When this happens, the patient gradually loses control over moods and feelings. After that, the disease moves to where the brain makes sense of things it sees, hears, and smells. In this stage, Alzheimer's wreaks havoc on a person's senses and can spark hallucinations. Eventually, the plaques and tangles erase a person's oldest and most precious memories, which are stored here in the back of the brain. Near the end, the disease compromises a person's balance and coordination. And in the very last stage, it destroys the part of the brain that regulates breathing and the heart. The progression from mild forgetting to death is slow and steady and takes place over an average of 8 to 10 years. It is relentless and, for now, incurable. Helping your family, friends, and neighbors to better understand Alzheimer's will reduce stigma, improve care, and even help the fight for a cure. Thanks for helping to do your part. Learn more at www.aboutalz.org.
All right. So it is fatal. Few facts that we can, few conclusions that we can draw from this video is
Many people, as they get
I think
older, may notice changes in memory and thinking abilities. At first, these changes may be.
sorry about that. I think it just kept rolling. All right. So a few conclusions from that video. It has been a long time since we have identified that there is something like Alzheimer's. It's been close to 100 years since we first found the first trace of Alzheimer's. And just like the slow progress of Alzheimer's in the brain, I think the research is also equally slower, and it's more slower than the actual disease. So it took us 100 years to come to a conclusion that, okay, fine. I mean, this disease can quickly become an epidemic and it is eating up our brains. And another fact that I would like to emphasize here is this is something that lives with us. This is a very cunning enemy. It lives with us for good 20 years of our life. And at one point of time, all of a sudden we start forgetting things. Where did I keep my keys? Oh, what was the name of that person I met? Okay, fine. And that's when we start going to see the doctors and the physicians, and then they come up with a conclusion that yes, you have Alzheimer's. And by that time, unfortunately, it has pretty much taken over the entire fort. So um, one of the things that I want everybody to understand and recognize the fact that this is a very, very cunning enemy and it lives with us, and we want to make sure that we do everything to prolong the onset of Alzheimer. So the whole idea of our presentation and our conversation is to figure out opportunities. I am of the opinion that yes, okay, fine. I mean, there is no remedy, there is nothing. Yeah, there is a good amount of probability that I'm going to contract with Alzheimer's. It's just that, okay, is it the age 65 years or 70 years or 75 years? So that is slightly in my control, and I will be as much aware as possible, and I will do everything that is in my hand to keep it at bay as far as possible. So let's move on to the next slide. As I said, Dr. Richard Isaacson is one of the pioneers of research on the Alzheimer's in the US. Uh, in his clear words, he says there is no one remedy, no one treatment, no magic pill for Alzheimer's. All right. So what are the risk factors that are leading me um, to the Alzheimer's? Okay, after 100 years of research and analysis, what they have found is there are four risk factors that are leading us to the Alzheimer's. So the first one is age. After 65 years of age, the risk of Alzheimer's doubles after every 5 years. So that's number one. Number two is gender. Uh, their statistics says women are more prone to getting Alzheimer's than men, and this is because of the more life expectancy of women than men. The third one is the family history, and the disease tends to run in the family. Either our mom or our dad can give us a nice gift of APOE4, and that can lead us to Alzheimer. Uh, and the fourth one, they call it as other risk factors, and that includes the history of trauma and lifestyle. Okay, this is probably the most important slide on my presentation, and I want you to give a close attention to it, close stare to it. Okay, these are the four things that are leading me to Alzheimer's. How many of them I can really control or I can exercise any control on? Number one, age. I don't think any one of us can control our age. We all are going to age. So we have really no control on that factor. It will come to us. Okay, next one is gender. We can't change it. We are what we are. So our probability in that regard is pretty much fixed. We can't do anything about it. Next one is family history. So we got what we were supposed to get, and now we have to live with it. We can't change our genes. We can take some corrective actions, but that's about it. I mean, that's not going to change our genetic order. So family history, we don't have any control on it. Next one is other risk factors. History of trauma. Okay, history of trauma, yes, we can exercise some control with our kids. We can help them not to get into the concussions, or we can do everything in our capacity. But what happened to us? We have fallen so many number of times on our bicycle in fourth grade, and we have jumped from third floor, and we have hit lot of trees. We have done lot, we played cricket, and we hit with the ball and the stump and whatnot. So we had all those traumas with us. So, and we cannot really do anything about them. So those traumas are going to stay with us. Now, the only thing that is left with us that we can control is something called lifestyle. So I want you to refocus on this slide. This is a very lethal disease that is basically going to make you so helpless, so out of world, that one will not be able to remember his name also. Okay, it is that lethal. And that particular disease is caused by these four risk factors. Out of that, 3.5 risk, 3.5 risk factors we really don't have any control on. So all what we can control is that tiny 0.5 out of 4 risk factors is the lifestyle. So let's see now how and where we can make changes in our lifestyle, and how Surya Namaskar can help in each of those factors to lead us to a better lifestyle. That might help us, I mean, prolong the onset of this disease. All right, moving on to the next slide. All right. So they have given a recommended approach for the lifestyle and how we can really control the lifestyle. So they call it as a shield. And I really like this acronym. S is for sleep helps clean up the brain. H is for handle stress. I is for interact with friends. E is for exercise daily. It does help new nerve cells in our brain. L is to learn new things, and D is for the diet and digestion that basically helps us with our microbial fauna and bacteria in our gut. Okay, so now let's take a deep dive into each one of these terms and see how we can leverage Surya Namaskar to achieve these. Okay, so before we jump into that, I'm sure you all are familiar with Surya Namaskar, but who are not. Uh, it is a combination of 7 unique poses. We took it from Raja Yoga. It is a concerted and rhythmic march of body, mind, and energy on the beat of a breath. And it can be done in various forms. It can be done as a meditative tool. It can be done as an aerobic exercise. So that's a brief introduction about Surya Namaskar. All right. So benefits of Surya Namaskar. What do we get out of Surya Namaskar? And then we will see how this aligns with our shield approach to better our lifestyle from Alzheimer's point of view. Okay, so first thing we get is the circadian clock. As I said in the beginning of my speech, alignment with the circadian clock is primarily the most important thing that we can draw from Surya Namaskar. With so many things happening around us, so many priorities, so many issues, life has basically changed. And we have kind of lost that connection with the circadian clock. And to give you an example of circadian clock, if I'm living in US, if I travel to India, I have a jet lag. So basically, my body is not ready to cope up with that part of the earth because it has attuned to a different part of the earth. So that's just to give you an understanding of what is a circadian clock is. But then it gets adjusted. Okay, fine. Then it understands this is 6 o'clock in India. So you start getting up at that time. So, but Surya Namaskar is going to make sure that your body get back into circadian clock. The foremost important gain that you can expect is that you should be able to wake up without an alarm clock before the sunrise. And that's when you can call, yes, I'm in attunement with the circadian clock. Another important aspect is the improved quality of sleep. Um, we will see that in Alzheimer's point of view. Basically, what matters most is the deep sleep. Let's say if we sleep for 8 hours, not all 8 hours are the deep sleep. So the only a selected part of that sleep is the deep sleep, and the deep sleep is the portion where our body actually executes a inner cleaning mechanism to take out the excess proteins. It can be insulin, it can be other radicals. So this is kind of a cleanup time for the body. So longer that time, better we wake up, the cleaner our system is. So improved quality of sleep is something that we definitely would like to get from Surya Namaskar. And probably if you have done 108 Surya Namaskars in aerobic form, or maybe 24 repetitions in meditative form, probably like you get that quality of sleep after the day full of exercise. Second thing I would like to draw from Surya Namaskar is the digestion, inflation, and the insulin control. Uh, One thing I would like to highlight here is Surya Namaskar is all about twisting and turning your abdomen. And I don't see any other exercise on this planet that twists and turns your intestine in so many different combinations and permutations along with other digestive organs. One thing we would like to recognize here is our circulatory system. That means our blood and everything, it has a pump installed in it. Our heart is a pump for our circulatory system. So basically, it will make sure that it pulls up the blood from every part of the body and then gives the brand new, nice and clean blood to the same part. So there is no pump in our digestive system. So we need to understand this fact. So to improvise our digestion, we need to induce that contraction and expansion so that we have more juices secrete, we have more natural movement of the food, and there are no residues. So from that point of view, I think Surya Namaskara is the best way. We take help of our legs, our diaphragm, and basically the spine to kind of create a different organization and different sizes for our abdomen so that all the organs move in a very unique and peculiar way, so that they get massaged and they get pressed and compressed and decompressed. So that does help with the digestion, and that ultimately helps with the inflammation also. So reducing inflammation is one of the things that we should always look for. And Surya Namaskar is with the improved digestion, probably we will have a lesser inflammation. Insulin control. This is something we briefly touched when we talked about the deep sleep and the cleaning mechanism of our body. So probably some of you might be aware that whenever we eat something, whenever we put something in our mouth, our body secretes insulin to dissect that food into glucose and sugar. So what happens to that insulin afterwards? Does it get absorbed by the body, or is it put into a reservoir and for repurpose reuse? Not really. I mean, insulin is also treated like alcohol. It is treated like a foreign body, so body has to clean it up with a specific effort to clean the insulin. So now we talked about a limited amount of deep sleep. This is the only, let's say we have a 2 hour of deep sleep, and in that 2 hours of deep sleep, we want to clean up our amyloid beta from our brain. And if we ask our body to clean up the insulin also, so it is kind of, we are actually putting an overload on our system and asking a little bit more than what it is capable of. So the best thing they recommend for the Alzheimer's prevention or kind of prolonging of the onset is the food habits. I mean, we should eat on time, whether it is a morning or is the evening. And I'm pretty sure once you get into the circadian clock rhythm, your body will ask for a food at a particular time in a day as well as in the evening. And if you have your dinner by, let's say, 6 o'clock in the evening, and if you want to go to bed by 10 o'clock in the night, by the time you go to bed, you are pretty much done with your food digestion, and you are letting your body to focus more on cleaning the amyloid beta rather than cleaning up the insulin. So that's the point I would like to highlight, and that will come to us through the alignment of circadian clock and getting on time and on a particular rhythm, especially when it comes to food. Uh, Increased level of saturated oxygen, we breathe in, breathe out with our lung full of capacity. And you can also observe it on any kind of oxygen meter. During Surya Namaskar, your SpO2 levels go substantially high up. um, Alongside, when we do Surya Namaskar, we are slowly becoming quiet in terms of our mind entropy. Our thoughts go down substantially, and we basically take up our biological capacity of our brain to think. So, if we are doing Surya Namaskar in a meditative form, we basically use up the 4 registers of our working memory. And we really don't have any more biological capacity to think about our boss or our neighbor or our in-laws. So, we have consumed our biological capacity to think. So our thoughts have gone down, our oxygen levels have gone up, and so our with the amount of thought going down, oxygen consumption has also gone down. So this is helping us in both ways. We are taking more oxygen, and we are consuming less oxygen on thoughts. So that way we can expect to have a substantially increased levels of saturated oxygen. Surya Namaskara is a gratitude journal, and there is a lot of research, and this is more applicable to the software side of the brain. It is more applicable to the depression and other illnesses. But for now, just understand that gratitude journal is something that they recommend to the people who are under chronic depression, is to take a journal and start writing what you like about, what makes you happy. Okay. In fourth grade, I came first in my running championship. Wonderful. So write about it. So think about it, and that will create a lot of positive emotions in you, and it will help you come out of that depression. So that's the basic idea of gratitude journal. Uh, if we talk in terms of Surya Namaskar is basically we go in front of the sun, and even if we take the names of the sun, I mean, they are so full of gratitude. If you closely understand or given attention to their meaning of those names, they are full of gratitude. In many of those names, we are either appreciating the sun, or we are saying thank you to the sun for giving us a beautiful life, or this life, and making me capable of doing this in front of you. So that's the very idea of doing Surya Namaskar. So let's say, for an example, let's say if I say Om Raha Pushne Namaha. So what does that mean? When I say Pushne Namaha, Pushne is something who is like a parent, or in a more correct word, it is a nourisher. So who is our nourisher? It is like, just think of a infant child, and a parent is taking care of those infant child, and you know what, that infant child really doesn't care who is taking care of that child. He just wants to have food, change my clothes, and get out. So, and in that situation, those parents are the pushni. And when I say Om Raha Pushne Namaha, what am I actually doing is I'm calling the sun as my nourisher. He has given me everything, he has done everything good for me, and he has made me capable of doing things. So I'm here to say thank you to you. So likewise, all other names, I mean, we use 12 names from its 108 names, beautiful names. But every name has a deep meaning to it. It has a substantial impact, and it's a form of gratitude towards our very own creator. So the more understanding we developed around these names and what the effects that I'm going to get, is basically a gratitude journal that we maintain every morning. And it has a substantial impact on our mind, and ultimately our life energies, and ultimately the more good we feel, the better we get. That's how it is. So it is also going to help us. Daily dose of appreciation, I talked about it. The more we appreciate something, the better we feel. I want to be really selfish when it comes to appreciation. I will go and appreciate 10%, 15%, 20% more than what is really required. And that does help. It is not for the other person. Of course, other person will feel good about it, but it is for me, because it is creating a lot of dopamine and serotonin in me. So it is helping me. So understand that. I mean, appreciation does help. Tool for neuroplasticity through daily affirmations. So this is again related to on the software side of the brain. What we do in Surya Namaskar is basically we go in front of the sun and preach ourselves that yes, you are my granddaddy. You are my daddy's 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 daddy. And I'm your son, I'm your kid, I'm equally powerful as you are. I want to be equally powerful as you are. And I want to be as bright, as knowledgeable, as uh, as as kind as you are. So see, this is basically we are training our brain, and a lot of research has happened on the neuroplasticity side of the science, and they have figured out, okay, you can change your perceptions about things, you can change your brain through constant self-talk and through constant affirmations. So Surya Namaskara is one excellent tool for leveraging that ability of brain to mold itself into, and taking out those fears of paper tigers from our mind and be free, and that will help us in keeping a good hygiene, good mental hygiene. Okay, so these are some of the fantastic benefits of Surya Namaskar. Now, as I said, let's take a look back at the shield that we saw for the Alzheimer and see how that is going to help us. Okay, so I think it is hung on me. All right, so sleep. We talked about uh, the resetting of the circadian clock. I would say go out in the sun, maybe a beach or a river or a mountain somewhere where you feel peaceful, go there, make it an event, make it an event, and make it a big thing. I mean, think about it, plan for it, have a special dress for it, have a special mat for it. So prepare for it and tell your mind that, hey, I'm going to go on the beach and I'm going to meet the sun, I'm going to be in the wind, I'm going to experience the sky. So, that will put you in that state of mind to receive the entropy of that place, and that will make you more peaceful. Um, the more involved you get, more indulged experience, more indulged that you are, the better experience you get, and sooner you will get back into the circadian clock. And when it comes to circadian clock, I always like to think of the small kids. Uh, I mean, they are very innocent. They are done with their day, and they just get onto the bed at 8 o'clock, and then while talking to you, they just close their eyes and then they go to sleep. I mean, we want that kind of sleep, that kind of sleep. We don't need to make any extra efforts to go to bed. Oh man, I need to put this musical tune or this kind of meditation mantra or something like that. Otherwise, I can't sleep. Okay, close those lights. And you should not have those kind of conditions. The sleep should just come to you. And my experience is the more you get indulged in Surya Namaskar as a practice, the the softer you become and easier it becomes on you to go to sleep and stay in sleep. Of course, another thing that will help the sleep is the freedom from alcohol, drugs, and even caffeine. I am fortunate enough. I had if many of my students, I mean, they had some kind of addiction. I mean, it's not like a huge addiction kind of thing, but yes, I mean, some of them were social drinkers, some of them were social smokers, or like once in a while, something like that. But the thing is, I mean, once you get set into that circadian clock, your body will start rejecting things that are not good for you. It doesn't have to come from the mind, it will come from your body, and the body will will tell you, man, you are drinking this glass of alcohol, and I need to do the rest of it, so I don't want to do it. So, and that is the moment when you will actually get away with these addictions. So what I say is, don't leave the coffee. If you want to stop drinking coffee, don't leave the coffee, make coffee your friend, and do everything to get in the circadian clock, and there will be a day coffee will say bye bye to you. So that's how it happens, and I have few people telling me that they are able to get rid of these things, which is a very fortunate thing. And these things are definitely no from the deep sleep point of view. We want to get rid of them as soon as possible. Insulin removal, we talked about that. That is one major thing. One habit that I would want all of us to inculcate is wake up before sunrise and have your dinner before sunset. That's a very good habit, and it can go a long way. It can have a very positive impact on our body. And do not eat anything. Do not eat anything after sunset. So you once you start following this sun clock, all of a sudden your body will get back into the circadian clock pretty quickly, pretty easily. All right, so that's about sleep, and this is how Surya Namaskar can help us accomplish the objectives set for the sleep parameter under the shield for the Alzheimer. Moving on to the next one, um, H handle stress. Okay, this is one prominent cause of all our illnesses, stress. Stress is coming from all different sources. It is the physical stress, it is the mental stress, financial stress, social stress, any kind of stress. So ultimately it affects, and it resides in our body in the form of muscular stress. So Surya Namaskar is one awesome exercise wherein you have an opportunity to work out 97% of your muscle groups. So I don't know, I mean, if any other muscle is left unattended, but it right from your fingers or your neck or your even eye muscles or even your toes, all of your muscles, small or big, will be worked out in Surya Namaskar. And I would say the slower you do it, the better effect you get. Um, I mean, these days, I mean, people are considering Surya Namaskara just like the 10K and 5K marathons, but that's not what it is. It is an experience. So we want to indulge into that. I always say that, I mean, Surya Namaskara, even though it is not in a perfect form, quote unquote, yoga, but it is a prerequisite to yoga. In Surya Namaskar, we are basically preparing our body and our mind and our energy system so that we can get into that next level of graduation. It's like an entrance. So I would recommend going with the slowest possible pace. And trust me, the slower you do, more difficult it is. The faster you do, the easier it is. And that's my experience. You can try it and you can get your experience. But do like 24 meditative repetitions with all the Surya names, all the chakra names, have all the colors visualized in front of your eyes, and that will release the stress from your body. It is alternate stress cycles, as you can see. Surya Namaskara is one awesome routine where there is no residual stress after one full repetition. So in Pranamasana, and after that, we bend the spine on the backward side once and then from the forward side. So whatever stress we accumulated in the previous position has been nullified in the next position. And when you come back to the Pranamasana, you are basically stress free from the residual stress point of view. Deep breathing. This is another way to make your mind stress free. We talked about that. So these are the three things I would draw from Surya Namaskar that will help me handle the stress. And so now we have victory on the two letters from the shield, uh, from the Alzheimer shield. Okay, that's a substantial win here. All right. So the third one is I. I is for interact with friends. Uh, the first thing I would recommend as a Surya Namaskar practitioner is first thing you should do is make sun your friend. Sun is not some kind of a bank who is knocking on your door. Hey, hey, give me 500 Surya Namaskars. Hey, hey, give me 10,000 Surya Namaskars. No, you do Surya Namaskars, you don't do Surya Namaskars. It doesn't matter to sun. All what matters is to us. Okay. So all what we can do is, um, I would say, who is the most influential? What is the most influential thing? What is the most powerful thing that you see on this planet? Okay, I'm born on this planet and I see the most influential thing is the sun. Okay, let's make friend out of him. So having influential friends makes our life better. I mean, it is applicable in corporate, it is applicable in politics, so that I think it should be applicable with Sun also. So do that attempt, make Sun your friend, and you can talk to Sun. You can share your stories to Sun. You can share your problems to Sun. You can actually have a conversation with Sun. He may not tell you something, but he will definitely do something. And what I say is, you will feel released, you will feel relaxed. And once you have that conviction in your mind that, okay, a mighty guy like Sun is my friend, I think that confidence you can take in any part of your life. So that's very important. And from the interact with the friends point of view, of course, we want to develop one more realization at Surya Namaskara Alliance is who are we and what is our source? We want to have that realization in every human being, irrespective of his religion, caste, creed, or race. I mean, we all are creation of Sun. I mean, just think like this. If for a religion to survive, we need a human to survive on this planet. And for a human to survive on this planet, we need sun. So at the very basic of all of our existence, it's the sun. So we all are creation of sun. And not only humans, I mean, I would say everything that you see around, um, they call in Sanskrit the Surya Atma Jagatastu Shascha, is basically in every element, in everything that is around us, the source is the sun. And I will tell one classic quantum theory example also. Probably that will make you realize, yes, 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 we all are made up of sun. let's talk about Einstein. So Einstein gave us an equation called E is equal to mc square. And E is the energy, m is the mass, and c is the constant. So what are we looking at this equation? All what we are looking at is E is directly proportional to m. So if you have a mass, you have energy. If you have energy, you have mass. Your mass goes up, your energy goes up, your energy goes up, your mass goes up. So basically, everything that has a mass has an energy. Okay, that's the conclusion from E is equal to mc square. Now look at from our solar system. In our solar system, we have all these big planets like the Saturn or a Jupiter, and we have these small planets like the Venus or the Mars and the Earth. And on this Earth, we are the big giant guys living on this Earth, right? So tell me, this entire system of this sun, okay, it has a certain mass and it has a certain energy, right? So if you have a small mass, you have a small energy. If you have a big mass, you have a big energy, right? So now tell me, what is the source of this entire solar system? It's only sun. So there is no reason to look back and have any doubt that we may be made up of something else. No, we are made up of the same single source of energy, that is sun. And I want each one of us, from any caste, any creed, any religion, to build that realization within us that we all are made up of sun. And what that will do is that will make each one of us friends of each other. And I think that's a very safe feeling. That's a very fulfilling feeling that, okay, there is no enemy around me because everybody is a friend, because we all are made up of the same sun. So I would like you all to use Surya Namaskar in this way to build that realization, to build that understanding, and to kind of uh, have that comprehension within us and tell us it should be our self-talk. And the more amount or more number of days we do that, the clearer it becomes to us. So I think we have captured third one from our Alzheimer shield is interact with friends. We have made sun our friends, so there is no threat to our existence. All right, moving on to the next one. E for exercise daily. So it is basically um, so so one important aspect of Surya Namaskar. What I like about Surya Namaskar is sun comes daily, and so my job is to go there and do a namaskar to him. It is possible that I may not be able to do 108 today. I might have some other priorities. It is possible that I may be ill or I may be sick or I may have to drop my daughter to school. It is possible. But in that case also, all what we can do is just go in front of him and just stand in the pranamasana and say, thank you. You have come here and I'm thanking you. That's all what it is. That's all what it is. And the beauty of this exercise is sun is going to come to you every morning. It is your alarm clock. It is going to remind you, hey, my kid, are you awake? How are you doing today? Just think like that. And then you will start figuring out, oh my goodness, I mean, I'm not sick, but that sun is coming through that window and coming to meet me. Wonderful. If you start thinking it that way, I mean, you will start really start feeling the magic of sun around you. And the beauty of sun is it is the most disciplined thing on this planet that we can experience. So if you are talking about discipline, align yourself with the sun. Sun is going to remind you every day, okay, guy, do something for me now. So that's a good alarm clock for us. So it will make sure that we get into that daily habit. Third one is creates huge amount of dopamine. Of course. I mean, this is scientifically proven, especially when you come from Hasta Padasana to Hasta Uttanasana. I would say after listening to this speech, when you do Surya Namaskar, especially give that special attention to that transition when you come from Hasta Padasana to Hasta Uttanasana. You know what? I think that is the biggest surge of dopamine in your head. and it will make you feel so good that even if you have done like hundreds and thousands of Surya Namaskar before, that amount of dopamine will tell your body and mind, hey guy, go for another one, go for another one. And that's why people keep on doing Surya Namaskars one after the other, one after the other. It's that little extra dose of dopamine that will put us into the next repetition. So observe that. And one beautiful thing is when we give dopamine to the body wants it more. So body is a very honest machine that we got. So that dopamine is also a very good factor that will keep us doing this exercise on a daily routine. We don't need to push ourselves really to do Surya Namaskar once we identify that dopamine power. All right. So SHIE. Wonderful. I think we are winning against Alzheimer's here. So next one is L. Learn new things. Um, One beautiful thing about Surya Namaskar is there is ample opportunity for you to learn. And what I mean by that is our brain is a very classic instrument. It has basically two parts. It has the right brain, it has the left brain. The right brain is like our drawing master, drawing teacher. She will come to us, whatever nonsense we might have drawn on our paper. She will say, wow, you have done a great job. Wow, it looks like a cow. What? It doesn't even look like a cow to me. But that is that instinct with that drawing teacher. They will always appreciate you. They will always say, yeah, yeah, you can do better. But this is also better. So that kind of approach is being taken by our right brain, and left brain is more like a our math teacher. He will say, hey, show me the numbers. Hey, tell me 2 plus 2 is equal to how much? And there is no second answer to it. If you say 5, you are done. You are going to get punished for it. So it's that clear. It's that precise on the left brain side of it. But Surya Namaskara is going to give you ample opportunities to leverage your right brain. um, we can start from the names of the Surya. Surya names are so classic. They have a lot of meaning. You can actually indulge into those meanings. When you say Om Ram Mitraya Namaha. So what does it mean? Oh man, he is my friend. Okay, having such a big friend is so good. I really don't have to worry about anything in my life because I have such a big friend. So this is all right brain activity. Okay, so these are all the opportunities that we can draw different meanings from those. We can have different concepts, we can have different experiences from our right brain, and it is going to tell you all those things. Even looking at the chakra colors when doing the Surya Namaskar in the meditative form, um, they have given the chakra colors, like for each chakra, red and the orange and all that stuff. So if you imagine those colors in front of your eyes when you are in that particular position, it is basically giving you a completely new, different experience each time you do that. So that is also a learning. Another thing I would suggest, and I particularly do, is find out new songs and tunes to use as a companion music. uh, if you know the Hindustani classical, that's wonderful. There are so many different rhythms that you can use. You can use Chautal. Chautal has 12 beats. So you can do Surya Namaskar along with Chautal. Ektal has also 12 beats. So you can do Ektal. You can pick and choose any other tal that makes you feel happy. You can choose even Bhajani or Kerwa or Datra, whatever that makes you happy. Just choose something new and do Surya Namaskars along with that different beat. So that is going to give you a brand new opportunity to learn a new schedule, learn a new, what we call as a summer. So coming on to the summer for a bhajani is different than coming on to the summer for chautal. So your brain is always trying to learn new things. So you can use music as a good therapy. My daughter asked me, Dad, can I use some English songs? Oh, wonderful, go for it. Nobody's stopping you. Use the best possible Celine Diaz kind of songs and whatever that likes you. Go for any kind of music and do Surya Namaskars along with that. Your brain is learning here. And another aspect is try new ways to make it a rewarding experience. So I would say go out to a new place where you have not been before. Um, just before the sunrise, walk into the woods, go into the mountains, go to the river, go to the sea, whatever works, and find a new place. Find a new place, and it will give you a brand new experience. You will learn a lot by going to a new place and doing Surya Namaskars in that new place. So this is how we can use Surya Namaskars to learn new things and to keep training our brain. So wonderful. I think out of the shield, we have already captured L. So I think Alzheimer is should be worried about us more than we worried about him now. Awesome. And the last one is the D for diet and digestion. And this is more related to the circadian clock of our body. So of course, we talked about the digestion. In terms of diet, I think the best criteria I use is if I'm eating the right amount of diet and right quality of diet, is I should wake up with a completely empty stomach. There should be nothing left, and I know that, and you can also figure out that feeling that yes, my stomach is completely empty in the morning. So that's a perfectly good feeling, or a quick test for us. We talked about the no pump to the digestive system. Yes, it is important to induce those contractions to our digestive system, and that will help secrete more juices. And alongside, I would say, as we age, the quality of those contractions and the quality of organs starts diminishing, and they become more and lazier and lazier, just like us. So inducing those activities can bring them back into the game, can make them feel that, oh my goodness, somebody is looking for me, so I should be better on my toes, otherwise I will get fired. So that's how you can bring them back into the game. uh, it's all about abdomen. We talked about that, twist and turn. Just imagine a 15 feet long uh, a tube is kept in our abdomen. It doesn't even feel like it. And the surface area of that the intestine is so big that it can cover half of a badminton court. Just imagine, we want to take care of the entire surface area if we want to remain healthy and if we want to keep Alzheimer away from us. So these are very important things, and Surya Namaskara is definitely going to help us in all different ways. And as we can see now, let's go back to what we achieved. Is probably, I think we have won pretty much the entire crown of this shield for Alzheimer. So I'll take a breather here, and I will take any questions if you have any.
So if we have any questions, we can probably use that raise hand gesture. You can go to the reactions option. Yes, we have a question from Supriya Lewis. I have given you permission to unmute, Supriya.
So it was a very good lecture. I'm very happy to know about its impact on the brain. I'm also very, I like the fact that 97% of our muscles are being used. But my question is regarding the joints. When I was doing therapy, we had an orthopedic doctor who was basically giving us a lecture on the impact of Zumba or aerobics on the joints. And he asked us a question like who should not do this type of aerobic activity. So as students, we told people who are old should not do, people who are, who have knee pain or back pain, they should not do. And none of us gave the correct answer. He finally gave us an answer saying that a person whose weight is more than the ideal body weight should not do because it has tremendous impact on the joints. Now, you very clearly here stated that that Surya Namaskar is also an aerobic activity. So, um, if a person's weight is more than the ideal weight, does it have a negative effect on the joint? See, my question, I'm asking this question is because we all are in yoga, and usually when people come to yoga, they already have health problems. Other than mental problems like depression or anxiety issues, they also have problems related to joints like back pain and knee pain. And most of us are slightly overweight after a certain age. So should we practice Surya Namaskar? And if we do, then how much should we practice? I know Surya Namaskar is good because I used to practice. But right now, you practice 108 numbers. Are you still practicing that much? I'm very curious to know.
Oh yeah, I practice any numbers. I mean, numbers is just a paper tiger. Once you get into that rhythm, you can do infinite number of Surya Namaskar. Your body really forgets that clock. That way, I need to stop, because after every Surya Namaskar, you get like that, like a surge of dopamine, and that keeps you going and going and going. Uh, I'll give you one example. I just shared some on one fine yoga day. I said, okay, I will do some 250 Surya Namaskar on Facebook Live. And then I kept on doing, and I ended up doing like 325 something. And it was full sun, and I was like drenched in sweat and all. But that's I would say that's not a good or bad, but that's something that we should be really cautious about Surya Namaskar. Because once you perfect your breathing rhythm and you have enough strength in your muscles and joints, as you said, and there is no pain in your body, it is like a Ferrari. So you just keep on riding. I mean, there is no stopping for you. So you have to basically intentionally stop you. But to answer your question, uh, that's a very good question. Uh, the amount of exercise that is enough for me is not going to be enough for you. So there is no one particular answer that I nobody can give. I mean, um, and we are talking about Alzheimer's. In Alzheimer's, what they do is when they give you a regimen of exercise, they have clearly said that we cannot say that do 1 hour of running or do 5 mile of walking or something of that sort. It is very, very, very personal, because your body parameters are different than somebody else's. Your family history is different than somebody else's. Your history is different than somebody else's. So it is a very, very personal thing. And you will be amazed. I was actually searching for that Subhashit. There is a very nice Subhashit. I don't remember it off my head, but they have given a very classic guideline in terms of how much exercise one should do. And it is so personal. It is so personal that you become your boss and you can figure out whether this exercise is enough for me or not. And I can tell you the meaning of that exercise. What they say is every human being, whether he is healthy or not so healthy, should do exercise 12 months a year, every day. And how much should that person should do the exercise? What they call it as is Shaktardhena. Shaktardhena means half of our capacity, half of our capacity. And later they say, how do we identify half of our capacity? Is they have given a simple litmus test to understand if we have achieved half of our capacity. So what they say is um, Kukshav, meaning our armpits, Griva, Lalate. Kukshav, Griva, Lalate, meaning our armpits, our neck, and our forehead. The minute you see a sweat on any of these body parts while you are doing exercise, take it for granted that you have used half of your capacity. And that's when they say you should stop there. That's the good indication of identifying your own limit. Um, in the
Thank you,
same
sir.
Subhash, they say, yeah, please.
Thank you, sir. I mean, that's a nice,
Yeah, yeah.
very nice thing you said just now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we don't know when to stop, whether we are over exercising or we are not.
Correct.
Because I love Surya
Yes.
Namaskar, but sometimes even I don't know, what is the limit? Should I do more? Should I
Yes.
stop? Very nice. Thank you, sir.
No, of course. And they have added a little bit more criteria to it. What they say is, okay, you may not have the sweat on your these body parts, but you might be running out of breath. After doing a certain exercise for a certain amount of time, you may run out of breath, and that is also an indication that you have achieved half of your strength, and you should stop there. It is amazing. I mean, what these guys have written like 5,000 or 10,000 years back is just miraculous. I'm amazed. I hope
Thank
that
you.
answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much
Thank
nice.
you.
Very
Thank you,
nice lecture,
Supriya.
sir.
So we will have Vaijanti Tai, then Rolly, and then Dr. Sarita.
Sure.
You can unmute now, Vaijanti.
Yes. Thank you, Suchita. Kulkarni sir, it was a really wonderful explanation and the connection of Surya Namaskar with the brain activity. I really
Very
enjoyed, and the fact that it's really going to be positively affected for the Alzheimer people and in general for everybody. What
yes.
my question is that if a person is already in the first stage of Alzheimer,
Hmm.
there are two parts. First, already in the start of the Alzheimer issue, is
Hmm.
it advisable because they are not really very cooperative to what we ask them to do? So, is it
Hmm.
advisable to ask them and get it done from them? Second is, if there are certain health issues in regards like there is stiffness in the joints and maybe due to some accidents they have some foreign bodies installed in their this the alternative arrangement that they these days is being practiced, that is the chair Surya Namaskar, will that be
Hmm.
effective?
Of course. I think these are two different questions, but let me answer it. First thing, in my view, anybody should do Surya Namaskar. I mean, and the second thing is, I don't think that doing Surya Namaskar in a particular way is the only way to do the Surya Namaskar. What I want is, I mean, as I said, the Shaktar Dhena is a very personal thing.
Okay.
My Shakti is maybe different than somebody else's. So I am not going to compete with anybody. I'm just going to do it with half of my capacity. So if somebody is not able to stand on his legs, that is fine. He can still do the Surya Namaskar. He can just close his eyes and bring them together, close the eyes and say thank you to the sun. I'm pretty sure this connection with the positivity is going to bring positive results. And slowly, as I said, I mean, it will happen slowly. It may take time. I mean, it depends on the amount of damage that has happened over the period of time. It's like you talked about the joints that are not working. That's absolutely perfect. It is possible. It's like this. uh, I used to have a cycle when I was in school. I used to have a cycle. I was so much fancy about my cycle. I used to take care of it like my baby, and I used to ride cycle from town to town. I took my cycle from Sangli to Aurangabad, and just 4 days, I was like, used to go Sangli, Kolhapur like anytime. Uh, when I left India, that cycle was in the garage. And after 4 years, 6 years, when I went back to India, I saw that cycle was still there. Came back here after another 5, 10 years. I went back. I saw that cycle. It's all rusted. It's gone. The minute I touched it, it started breaking apart. And the same cycle that took me from places to places in all different kind of situations, weather conditions. What? I mean, that thing is no more of any use. So the same thing happens to our body. We don't use it, we lose it. Always take that as a policy. Nature is a very professional entity. You don't use it, you lose it. We stop using our tail, we lost our tail.
That's true.
Simple as that. So same thing happens to our joints, our muscles, our ligaments. We don't use it, we lose them. But we can always again gain them back. But we have to be more patient, we have to be more focused, and never ever blame yourself for what has happened to you. That is not your problem. Let that sun take care of that problem. All we have to do is go in front
Well,
of the sun and submit ourselves that yes, you are my Pushni, I'm your child, take care of me. This is what I am.
yes, sir.
So I think that does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And
Okay,
thanks for
wonderful.
that beautiful explanation and giving the confidence and the courage to
Yeah,
all those who are really uh, withhold themselves for
yeah,
such reasons that no, because of this, I'm not able to perform Surya Namaskars and all those things. So
right.
thanks for giving that beautiful explanation, sir. Thanks.
Of course, of course. And to answer your question, if we can start it after we
Yes, sir.
have identified Alzheimer's.
Hmm.
Um, Consult with your doctor definitely, but there is no harm in starting in small steps.
Okay.
There is a one awesome book I will recommend. It's called End of Alzheimer's.
Okay.
It's written by Dr. Del Bredesen. He is also one of the pioneers of Alzheimer's, and he has given a course to kind of redo the process of Alzheimer. Like whatever has gone wrong, he has given a recommended approach that might undo those effects of Alzheimer.
Okay.
And there is no guarantee as such whatsoever. Even he doesn't do that, but it is a better way to at least it has some probability that we may at least reverse the course of Alzheimer.
Yes. To a
Yeah,
little extent, benefits will be experienced by the person.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes.
Thanks, sir.
And
Thanks
his
for beautiful.
regimen, yes, yes. And his regimen is a combination of everything.
Yes.
He talks about Ayurveda. He talks about adding turmeric in our food. He talks
Yes.
about having gugul. He talks about having ashwagandha. He
Okay.
talks about doing yogasana. He talks about doing meditation, sun salutation. And so, I mean, it's a wonderful book. Give it a shot. I mean, it's a
Definitely.
definitely a life-changing book for sure.
That means we need to go to our basics, the culture of our Vedas and the great immense knowledge that has been there with us since ages.
Absolutely,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I think we have that habit. Once it comes from West, we'll start liking it more. So
Perfect.
I'm telling you, it is coming from West. Take it, like it, enjoy it.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thanks. Thanks for
yeah,
this elaborate explanation. Thanks a lot.
of course. Thank you, thank you.
Um, Good evening, everyone, and good evening, Nikhil sir. My
Yeah.
question is that in when you have a REM condition, Surya Namaskar is going to help improve your condition because that might lead to Alzheimer's or some other disease which might just you might lose your control on your brain and your body.
Yes, that is a very, very good question. That is a very good question. So I think in Alzheimer, there is one stage where we actually lose control on our motor movements. I think that is the moment where we would not recommend doing it in the present form, but try to find out a simpler way, which can be accommodated by that condition. And as I said, I mean, just sitting in the sun is also a Surya Namaskar. Even I would say, if you are not able to move out of your bed, just looking at the window is also a Surya Namaskar. And this is what we are doing is we are building Surya consciousness within us. And this is a pursuit of positivity. Is it going to cure? May not. It may not. But it is going to give us a experience of positivity. So that's how I would look at it. But if it is physically absolutely not possible, do not do it. I would say limit yourself to what you can do. I mean, it doesn't have to be all that Alzheimer patients. In my class, I had a director from a big company. He and I used to work together, and he told me, I'm a big fitness freak. I used to wake up at 4 o'clock, and then I do my take a daily dose of exercise. I do running on my treadmill. I do this elliptical and all that stuff, and by 6 o'clock, I'm done. I said, wonderful. So he said, can I join your session? Of course, you're welcome. And the day he joined, I saw that he was not even able to touch his feet. Forget about touching his head to the knees. He was not able to touch his feet. He said, wow, looks like I have a big problem. It's not the problem. You just didn't use your body in that particular way. So start practicing, start slowly. And your body is such an honest machine. You want to use it in that particular way, it will adjust itself, it will attune itself, and one day you will be able to touch your feet. So it happens not only to the patients but to the healthy people also. So it's just a matter of how we have used our body in all these in the span of our life. Does that
Right.
answer your question? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm somewhere connecting with REM condition where you are in deep sleep and your body starts acting and you start using your hand, and sometimes you hit people, sometimes you say lot of stuff. So that is
Okay.
also somewhere connected with the brain functioning. So if we are doing Surya Namaskar, it will help
Mhm.
reduce your those activities, and you can control your brain and body while in sleep as well, although you don't have that control, jahan tak main sochti hu.
Right, right. Oh, so REM. So it is related to the deep sleep we talked about.
Correct, correct.
So what happens is we have a very short span of deep sleep. Even if we, let's say, go to bed at 10 o'clock, we are still thinking about so many different things till 11 o'clock, and then finally we get to sleep. But that's not just deep sleep. It's a very short span of the night that we spend in the deep sleep. Rest of it is in REM. But as you do Surya Namaskar, it will actually increase your length of deep sleep.
Hmm.
And that will effectively reduce the length of the REM sleep. So,
Okay.
and you will experience this. The sleep that you get after doing 108 Surya Namaskars or 24 repetitions on a nice cold beach and come back and sleep, the kind of sleep that you sleep like a baby. And that's a very important sleep. And that has a very small span of REM sleep.
Hmm.
And they used to say that Gautam Buddha used to sleep only for 2 hours, but whenever he used to sleep, he wouldn't even move by a millimeter. His posture used to be so stable, and that 2 hours of sleep was quite enough for him because he has identified that deep sleep. So that's how it is related to every body movement, every motor movement is related to the level of entropy, level of anxiety in our mind. As it goes down, the motions become calmer, our voice become soother. So they are connected.
Thank you so much. It actually
Yeah,
answers my question. Thank you so
sure,
much.
sure. Thank you.
Hello. This was very nice session, sir. Actually, we have
Thank you.
already answered my questions. Vaijantit, I asked same question. I had those questions like, can elderly people who are already affected by Parkinson's or Alzheimer's can do Surya Namaskar? That was one question. And the alternate methods like sitting Surya Namaskar or sitting on the chair Surya Namaskar can help them. Those were my two questions. And the name of author you told about the end of Alzheimer's. I just wanted to ask about that author. What was
Yeah,
her,
sure.
his name?
His name is Dr. Bredesen, Bredesen.
Bredesen. Okay.
Yeah. And the name of the book is End of Alzheimer's. Yeah.
And as you said, half of we should use our half of our capacity. And
Yes.
when we start sweating, we should stop. But in Mumbai, I think before we start Surya Namaskar, we start sweating. So
Yes.
What is the
So in that case, that's a very good question. In that case, probably you should look at your breath as your criteria to identify your half the capacity. So when you will run out of breath, probably that's when you achieved your half of your capacity.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We can have last two questions from Parthasarathi and Kavita.
Yeah, thank you, Kulkarni sir. It's a very wonderful session. My question is, when do we do Soorya Namaskar? What's the perfect time? It should be done in morning, or it's in the evening, or it's in the afternoon. Can you please give me the answer? Thank you very much.
Sure. I mean, that's one of my favorite questions, and thank you for bringing that. The best time I would say is the Brahma Muhurta. See, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to reduce the entropy of our mind. And so for that, we should find out a time that has the least entropy. And as you can rightly guess, Earth is kind of soothing between like 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the night. And all the animals that follow the circadian clock are at rest. All the businesses on this planet are kind of at rest. So everything starts getting calmer. And the most calmer time on this planet is at 4 o'clock when you see the Venus. And that is when you should start it doing it. And you should finish Surya Namaskar slightly after the sunrise. Do not do it in the sun because it's pretty hot. I mean, being in the sun for longer time has its own implications. You don't want to do that. So I think that's the best time to do the Surya Namaskar. You should not do it in the evening. Surya Namaskar is one exercise is not supposed to be done in the evening. There are very many reasons. We can talk about that offline. But my personal experience, having anything in the stomach while doing Surya Namaskar is not a good thing. So you should not eat anything, just have a glass of water and then do Surya Namaskar, and then that's about it. So evening is a no for Surya Namaskar. There are other reasons also, we can talk about that, but morning is the best time, is I would say. From Ayurveda point of view also, our doshas start from like 6 o'clock or after the sunrise. So we should do everything, all of our heavy exercise, like the energetic exercise or the entropy related exercise, before all these faults start showing up in our body, so that we are not compounding on the faults, but we are we are enjoying the entropy of the earth, lower entropy of the earth. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thanks, Nikhil sir, for this.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. It's answered my question. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Nikhil sir, for this wonderful session. And my question is, those who are not able to do Surya Namaskar, like we have discussed earlier in Parkinson's, or there is a loss of mobility. So in that case, can we recommend sun gazing like we do in naturopath, early morning sunrise sun gazing, or late evening sun gazing at the time of sunset? So can we recommend this?
Yeah, of course. I mean, sun gazing in the morning is wonderful experience. I think this is probably the best time on the earth. And if you want to really understand the value of sun, how I look at it is related to the marginal utility of things. So if I have this glass of water and I'm hungry or I'm thirsty, the first drop that I'm going to drink is going to make me more satisfied than the last drop that I will drink. So with every drop, that utility of that water goes down and down. So that is the marginal utility. It applies to sun also. So what I do is I go onto the Pacific, which is awfully cold in the morning. It is freezing cold. It is like almost most of the time it is like 35, 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is like 4 or 5 degrees centigrade. I go there in the morning. It's super chilly. Wind is blowing, Pacific is so dead cold, you can't even put your foot in that ocean, because it is basically ice water. It's not like Arabic Sea, so it's very, very cold. So everything is cold. And when I go in that spot, wherever I decide to go, and I put my yoga mat and all, I want that sun so desperately that I cannot withstand with my legs, and they are so like becoming like a winter freeze kind of thing. So that is when I feel the most utility for sun. So as the sun progresses into the day, that marginal utility will go down. So probably you will start disliking the sun. So I think the time should be when we like it the most, and especially if you are not able to do the Surya Namaskar in the conventional way of 12 step, 10 step, or and if you just want to experience the sun, probably that time is the best time. You can go out right before the sunrise, feel the air, feel the sky, and then feel that sun coming on the horizon. I mean, it's a moment to watch. You will be happiest for the rest of your day once you see the rising sun in front of you.
Yes.
Does that answer your question, Kavita?
Yeah. Thanks, sir. Thanks. You're totally right. And one more thing I just want to ask that what we do in our Hindu culture, we do arghya देणे म्हणतात ना त्याला. So can we consider it as a gratitude? It's actually a gratitude shown towards the sun. But is it sufficient or is it recommendable for those people also?
Gratitude towards sun, yes, of course. Everybody should have gratitude towards sun, because we are all made up of sun. There is nobody else other than sun who is our granddaddy. So we all should be able to connect. Everybody should get that opportunity to connect with our grandfather and have that loving conversation early in the morning. So yeah, everybody should connect. And in terms of gratitude, I met a group of Telugu people. They used to come in my class. He said, "Sir, show me how to do 108 repetitions efficiently." I said, "Why are you so focused on 108 repetitions?" So he said, on the Ratha Saptami, we Telugu people come in temple and we do Samudayik Surya Namaskar. And we don't call it as a Surya Namaskar, we call it as some Surya Archana or something. But we all come here, and our objective is to do 108 Surya Namaskar, but not all of them can do it. So I want to learn it from you. So wonderful. I said, wow, at least there is one community in India that is making it a point to go to the sun and say thank you at least once in a year. I was very much thrilled to have understand that process and that religious thing. But yes, I mean, we all should have gratitude towards sun. That is the origin. That is what makes us.
Sir, what we do that ना अर्घ्य जे आपण करतो ना हिंदू कल्चर मध्ये अर्घ्य देतो.
Yeah, right.
So that is kind of gratitude, right?
Right, of course. I mean, it's not. See, you give the argya or don't give the argyas. It doesn't matter to sun, right? What we are doing is we are actually satisfying our own mind and recreating good thoughts, good emotions, and good energies about sun. So when we give the argya, is basically what we are doing is, okay, you are the fire principle, and what I'm doing with all my 5 principles, I'm made up of all the 5 principles. I have everything in me, including the fire and the water and the earth and the sky. So what I'm doing is, I'm coming in front of you, I'm picking up this water, and I'm offering this to you. And what does it really mean is, I'm offering my regards to you. That's all what it means. So it is a form of gratitude. Even if we think of sun is also a form of gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
Sure, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Nikhil, also. Nikhil, could you stop that screen share also, if possible, so we can see you on big screen?
Oh, yeah, of course. Hopefully it is not hung up on me. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nikhil. I think I would request Sushma to say something. She's yes, Sushma, if you can. So Sushma, as I said, is a co-founder of Home School of Yoga along with me, who had to go somewhere, but she joined midway. So yes, Sushma.
Yes. Nikhil ji, thank you very much for this wonderful session, and it was really excellent.
Yeah.
And I am here to convey a little bit about what is my take home from your session. Is I joined half, but the take home for me is like we are into yoga. So like in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we have niyama, and that those niyamas are shaucha, santosha, tapa, swadhyaya, and ishwar pranidhana. I think how to enhance this niyama, or how to practically apply this niyama in our day-to-day life, and this Soorya Namaskar is, I think, one of the techniques through which we can definitely apply this niyama or enhance this niyama in our day-to-day life. That is what is my take home.
Wonderful.
And very beautifully given by this shield, and this shield is the shield for people like us. We are not, we are at the boundary, we are always at the boundaries of Alzheimer, right? So we cannot say that we are not
unfortunately that's true. And take it with a pinch of salt. I mean, you like it or not, that guy is maybe living with us, unfortunately. And we just, all we can do is just pray for it. That's all.
Yes, that is true. That is true. So this shield is very much useful for us. And one more thing I really wanted to appreciate is that the term which you used is redoing. I like that term basically.
Yes.
So redoing is only possible after undoing, as undoing. The computer language. It is only possible after undoing. So we were always explaining doing undoing is yoga, but with Soorya Namaskar, after undoing, this task is possible only, and that is redoing. So very beautiful concept you have introduced here. And as we all know, this nature is very much cyclic in cyclicity. The nature has cyclicity. So if we need to tune our life with the nature, so we need to adopt this Soorya Namaskar, which is cyclic in nature. So then only we would able to tune our life with the nature. That is the take home for me and all my participants, I think. Again, thank you very much for giving your time here on this forum and explaining Soorya Namaskar in a very different way. That you rightly said that only doing Namaskar, standing in front of sun and doing Namaskar is a Soorya Namaskar. And we need to include these techniques in our religious activities. And in our ancient people, they have included all these activities in as a ritual, as a religion activity. And why they did so, I'm very much convinced about it now. So now it is time back that we need to include all these activities in the religious format, in the religious framework. And that is the need of time, I think. Okay. Thank you very much again, Nikhil ji, and your research work. And we want your guidance again and again. Thank you so
wonderful.
Much. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for all the good words. It's an honor to be part of it.
So thank you very much again, everyone, for joining. And I think we can all call Nikhil again. So let's see how we can do that. And our next session for Yogarthi, I think Sushma is going to be on the Yoga Day, right? On 21st of June. And we will surely be sharing the details of the speaker and the session. So thank you very much for joining, and have a good day. Good night, everyone.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.